Well, good day. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your financial market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for Monday evening, May 1st, 2023, and we're right now at about 6:50 p.m. Central Time. I'm void of a monitor, so it's strange for me working with two. I need three of them to do this effectively, and I don't have the third. It's gone kaput. I'm going to run tomorrow. I'll buy a new monitor. I'll get it first thing in the morning, and by tomorrow night, we should be all set up and ready to go. They go in time. Not much you can do with them. All right, I guess, everything wears out in time. I'm still good. So we have the Reserve Bank of Australia coming out tonight, sometime. They're expected to go pausing, not raising rates again. We have a problem with us because we're talking of going up another 25 basis points for the Fed. But what's said at the conference will be key. I happen to think that there's not enough data here for the Fed to pivot to the dovish side. You do. The stock market's gone up, and I realize it fell today finally, and it's down tonight. But overall, the naysayers have won the event. The earnings in the stock market are a beat, not a miss. You can't argue that. That's just fact also as can be. So you get the different analysts that say, oh, this is the quarter. Well, I've heard that every single quarter since we started embarking on raising rates, that eventually it's going to hurt it. And as an overall number, that just isn't the case so far. And then we're going to get the European Central Bank on Thursday, and then we're going to get jobs report, our wages and all that coming out on Friday. It's a packed full week. You want to tread carefully. The market's full of landmines. Now, once this is over, I'm much more comfortable right back into the market for a long time, because you got to get all this out of the way, especially all this noise, as I like to call it. We saw that the banking crisis came to an end as it should. The Fed had pretty well signals, and I said this last week, you would not get into Monday's opening without something happening. I thought the weekend would be it. I was surprised they didn't announce it last night before I was doing my work for my clients. They didn't, but they got it done as it turns out. I really thought PNC, a regional bank, would get the ownership. They did not. It was JP Morgan again. The Office of the Comptroller for Currency, they allowed this to happen, and takeovers, to protect the financial system, you let the big boys go. But you do realize these big boys are too big to ever fail. And that's the thing you always got to keep your eye on. Now, the shareholders wiped out. Okay, that's how these things work. So on the S&P, there's nothing bearish here. Do you think that looks bearish? I'm the guy that thinks the market's going to pull back. I have not been right. Simple. I don't think the naysayers are right in driving this higher and higher and higher. Fine. Have I been fighting the market? Absolutely not. Am I trying to have my clients go short as you're in an uptrend? No, not even remotely. I'm entitled to my opinion, but how I put out recommendations is based on one thing only. What's the chart action look like? And this chart action is nothing. You have a big break. You've got a big rally that's happening. You got a lower low, higher high. That's not a trend. The market is staying over the 18-week average, so you have the bias up in the market. But where's it gone to? Just about the upper Bollinger Band. Where do you think I think it's going to have key resistance? Right here. We've been here. We've done that. We know the 4,200 level is a level that analyst upon analyst thinks is the target to get to the resistance point. Will it sell? Will the saying be for May, sell May and go away? No, it's probably going to be stay in May and play. I think that's what you're going to have. I think you're going to have a trading market. Why do I say that? Because the setups haven't worked on the bear camp so far. What's going to make them all of a sudden do it? I have been the bear, and I think we're closer to the end of the Fed coming with the rate hikes than we are middle ground or any of that. No, I don't know the month. Do I think it's more than another 2 or 3? No. 2 would be pushing it, in my view. 3 would be hard. The data would have to get stronger. In other words, labor market, CPI still picking up. Then the Fed would go for 3. But what happens if all of a sudden we get the jobs report coming out, and then the week after we get CPI that's down? The Fed goes probably into the pause mode. The pause mode, well, is it going to be buy the rumor, sell the fact? You've been rallying all this time. What else are you going to rally on? Something to think about. All right. But again, I'm a chartist. As a chartist, why do I want my client to play in an overbought market with a lower and low, higher high? I don't. I have the same problem in the NASDAQ. Lower and low, higher high, overbought. I'll let you do that. Not for my client. Lower and low, higher high, lower band, upper band, and you think that that's tradable. I wish you the best with it. The market that's still bearish has been the Russell. The small cap hasn't been able to get out of its own way. Now, if we break through like we're doing Monday's lows and then we reversed up and closed higher, that could be a signal that the Russell's through on the downside. Are we there? No, I'm giving you what-if scenarios. No more than that. Right now, they're bearish. And in the bond market, you have fallen back to where you keep getting support. The combination of the 100-day average, the lower band, the trend is down. Why would anybody be bullish in front of this report is beyond me, but people do it, all right? Does this chart look bullish to you? You got lower highs, lower lows. I see where the support's coming in. Momentum down, bias down. Until you break that pattern, the market is still bearish. As for the dollar index, well, you might get a rally. I am a big bear on the dollar because I think that when it ends, other banks, when what ends is the rate hikes, I think the European Central Bank, I think the Bank of England, I think they're all still caught into higher rates. And because we went up so far, we can drop more than they're willing to drop. That's another bet that I'd make. In the eurocurrency, you can see how you're pulling back here. You want to really gamble on what they're going to do and not do and how the public's going to take money off the table in front of all that. You know how the Fed goes into a blackout period a week before the FOMC meeting? It's in theory the week before. I don't like getting overly aggressive in some of the currencies and some of the stock indexes the week before either. I watch how this market does this very fast. It depends which one is it going to be impacted by that particular market. Now, the British pound is not going to be impacted one way or the other. It's in an uptrend, but you're hitting the objectives, the upper Bollinger Band, and you got yourself overbought. Time for a pullback, yes. In Bitcoin, all I had to see this weekend is $100,000 number, and I could have told you it'd be down. That's what I'm reading again. The market's over on the downside. It has gone up 70% in 2023. The bottom is in. We are on our way to $100,000 a coin. And today the market got pretty well hit if you looked at that. On the energy market, what's got energy hurting, which makes sense, is you can see China's order book. And you see that they're not getting a flow of big orders. And that's because, be it Europe, North America, we are perceived to be going into a slowdown, and you don't need as much. We're getting fact of that because we're chewing through inventories. Didn't we just see that last week? We saw that there's not a lot of money being spent to create new inventory. Instead, we're taking them down. Well, that means you're not buying as many goods. Over the weekend, there were a number of stories about the ports in California, how there are no lines of ships. None. You get your ship, it comes right in, it unloads, and it's gone. There's no week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of sitting on board, waiting to get things going, hoping the truck problems come and they can get all your stuff. That's all history. Done. When you look at the Brent, that is why you're down here, but you are oversold. And that's important. Now, Russia has now stated they're giving no more data on their production of distillates, crude, what they export or not. China started cutting off the U.S. on a number of databases. I don't know if you're aware of that too. Everybody wants to keep what they do secret, so we'll open up and tell the world what we're doing. You know that's going to be the game. When I look at what's going on here, though, there's no reason to be anything so far but still in the bear camp. Either embed and you get another wave, or be oversold and you correct it by getting a correction. A lot of people are still trying to pick the bottom in gasoline. The market will tell you when it's bottomed. If you miss it, you miss it. You don't want to be early. I told you I thought it would have troubles right through here. What was support, the 200 and the 100-day average. Now it's resistance. That's normal. When you pop through this high, then I'll be looking for the 18-day average to get hit. And in that gas, you need a weather event. Can I be any clearer? You're in that perfect time of year where you don't need natural gas. You don't need it for much heating. You don't need it for air conditioning yet. So you build stocks, but it's also not in a state of collapse. And the first time it gets a heat wave, one that looks like it's going to last, this probably gets a nice little bid, but you got to wait for that to occur. You know, one of the things that I like to do is teach you little tools. Pivot points are a great one right at this time. Why? It is really for in and out trade. If you're going to use it just by itself, it's a day trading tool. If you use it to increase your timing on a position trade, this is where you do it. I was looking at it today in the metal markets as we were rallying. I'm going, this is not going to hold. No way this rally is going to hold. And I'm sitting there, and I swear, if I wrote a letter, I couldn't get it out quick enough before the market peaked out and came down. 3-piece video series, free to you. I want to teach you how I teach. So how do you get it? Go to our website under free offers, move your cursor up here. You can do it that way. You see our phone number. And remember, you can always join me in my morning subscriber videos. If you just come to YouTube, you'll see a blue button that says join. Give it a click. All the particulars are there. I'm Ira Epstein. Have a good evening. I'll see you tomorrow.